Good morning to everybody. Welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I'm trying something different here. I've got my mic in front of me. It feels a little, it looks good, but it feels a little encompassing to me. So I'm going to push it to the side. Yeah. I just need that space for some reason to channel. So I'm just going to go with that. Good to see everybody. Hey, Yannicka, good to see you. Oh, thank you so much for that. So this morning, we are going to really get real because this is what's happening with me. And so I'm going to kind of use myself and put myself in a bit of a vulnerable position and let you guys know how I work through something that's blocking me. And that thing is my career, my success, where I have in the past uncleared relationships, and I found the love of my life, and he's a beautiful, beautiful man. And I've also manifested my own stability in my home, and that came with my beautiful man as well. And we turned key and everything. There's a video on that, on me manifesting a home. I said to myself I would manifest it within 1 year, and I did. And pretty much to that year, I ended up turning the key into my own home, coming from a very vulnerable position there where I was just in a unit with my girls and, broken up a year before from a very nasty relationship. So I know how to do this, but sometimes as we get closer and closer into the core essence of ourselves, it gets a little like we deceive ourselves. We try to stop that next move because of there's a fear-based scenario that's underlining all success within your life, whether it be love, security, success, whatever you want to do in your reality. There can be, as you get into that core essence of where it all started, the delusion that it started outside of you. And that's what I want to get into now, and the reason why and how and all that sort of stuff. So what happened was I started to get the color code channeling through. And then I'm like, I'm going to work with this. So there's something within me that is resisting. And so I started to talk about that to myself. And I started to channel through some really cool things. First of all, they said it's up to you to love the world, and know then that the world will love you back. Because when you do that, when you love everything in your reality, there's no resistance anymore. It literally gives you the reins to where you want to go, because you're not in disharmony with things. It's not to say that things won't irk you, but at least the irk will show you where not to go. It's not like life is going to be like absolute breeze, okay? So it's more of like they're showing me a rapid, like going down a river, and then there's bumps in the river, and you just avoid the stone, you just avoid the rocks, you avoid the log that's fallen over there. You can see it for what it is. You see clearly. You have a clear path by the way that you're seeing yourself, instead of, oh my God, that log, I can see it. And you can see it like a mile away. And they're bringing me to that Austin Powers movie where there was like a steam roller, and the guy's like, no, don't come near me, don't. And he's like got plenty of time to get out the way, and it's still slowly rolls him over, kind of like that. Or you're going down your river of life, and you see a blockage coming, and it's like all your focus is so in on that tree coming towards you that's literally where the river takes you. But if you love your life, you can see all the clear paths, and so you move. Oh, I can see that there's something that's going to block me there. That person's going to give me something that I need to just let go of really quickly and move on. and you don't get so upset because you see it from their value, not your value, because you haven't focused in on it as if it's your story. Yeah, interesting what they're telling me now. So let's be super honest with ourselves. This is what they titled this. And then they started to give me this information of how I went on this journey of losing myself to find myself. They said to me, and then I put it into words for myself, sorry. So I said, when I was totally under the spell of limited worth, so we're born as a child, we're born as a baby, and we are absolute love everything. And that reflection is our parents loving us back, unless you've come from a life where you are already in a victimized situation. And then you're probably born into parents that will show straight up that victimized situation or that victimized energy that you've got to clear in this life. But most people are born with love, loving the life that they're in, and from their soul's perspective, an adventure. This is exciting. Where are we going? And as a kid, you sort of like, wow, I wonder where I can take this. You feel free. You feel like you can go and, create that sand pit wherever, and you start drawing on the walls of the house, and then you get told off, and, just keeps on getting limited and more limit. And of course, we need boundaries. We need to be taught how to navigate through this life. But sometimes these limits are so pushed onto us that they really squeeze the life out of us. And that's what's happened through the schooling system. And our parents have also been taught, especially because I was born in the 60s. So in the 70s, it was still a lot of very limited concepts of what life should be like. And no one really could live up to them in those days. So everyone walked around pretty miserable in my neighborhood. I just felt it in everybody that there was always something that somebody felt pretty about. Maybe that was my life. Any case, I can only come from my life, and I'm being vulnerable here, right? Love my parents, by the way. Anyway, when I was totally under the spell of limited worth, I thought I was good enough for this world. When I saw the spell outside of myself, in other words, it was everyone else's fault, I still felt unworthy and blamed the world for that. When I started to realize all outside of me was a reflection, and I started to wake up a bit, I had to take a long, hard look at my thoughts, but I still blame my childhood issues and the world for not supporting me because I was so different. And the way that I think is so different. When I worked through all of my childhood and adult traumas, it took me to a core issue from when I was younger to even when I was born. So in clearing them, I felt like I was clearing it all because, hello, you're born, right? So you think, yeah, I would have cleared it all then. In other words, when I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my throat, and I can remember I had this memory when I was, it was brought back to me when I was scuba diving, and I was in the sea, and they said to me, there's this great big grouper fish, and if you find it, it's massive, it's beautiful. And I saw it in the distance, and it was like me being born. Like I literally had this memory of me being born and going, wow, how exciting is this? This is so cool. And then, you flap your little flippers and the current starts to really pull you closer faster. And this thing was massive, and its big juju lips, like its mouth was as big as my head, easy. And like I'm thinking, this thing is way too big, and now I'm scared. And I started to backpedal because the current was already taking me that way. So here I am in reflection, being born like that. And all of a sudden I was excited. And then all of a sudden the energy dropped so low that I started to get a fright, and the fear that was carried by humanity's consciousness came over me, washed over me, and I didn't like it anymore. So I started backpedaling, and then I was born with umbilical cord wrapped around my throat. I was trying to commit suicide as I was coming out. But alas, I didn't die. I didn't even have a near-death experience, by the way. Any case, so this is the honesty we have to have with ourselves as to where are these point issues coming from. So then I thought to myself, I can see where I didn't want to come into this fear-based scenario, and so now I've got to take that responsibility for that, so that you'd think that would clear yourself. But still, the negative thoughts keep lingering until now, when I start to get real honest with myself. So this is me talking to myself and how I'm starting to clear this issue. So I said to myself, self, you are thinking negatively about yourself, which is blocking your success. And I know I do it. I do it all the time. I'm not good enough. This isn't going to really go anywhere. I know people would think that I wouldn't think this way because of what I channel through. And I so totally get it. But there's this core that is always constantly niggling at me. So, yeah, you are thinking negatively about yourself, which is blocking your success. So why am I blocking myself? What's my resistance? It's my responsibility. This is what I'm telling myself. And this might help you guys. This is why I'm sharing this with you. It's my responsibility to stop my negative thoughts, which are only a biohazard left over from a journey of self-doubt. But that's over now. And that's where I wanted to bring that sword down and go, that's the past. That is not now. So I can't blame anything but me now. I have to stop thinking thoughts about my career never making it, not anyone else. There's no bad eclipse moon and sun alignment. There's no spiritual hex. I'm super supported by my family, which is a great reflection in the work that I've already done. And there's even no more childhood traumas because I cleared them. It's just a residual habit. So it's neuron paths that are sparking up constantly because it's used to that. And it's used to producing the chemical within my cells to say that I am useless, that I'm never going to make it. There's some sort of residual chemical that I am feeling empowered by keeping myself small. And that means I'm the only one to stop my mind putting me down. This all started with me feeling unworthy right at the beginning when I was a kid because I trusted my outside world and reflection to guide me instead of taking responsibility for my own self-worth, which I was born with that, remember, that self-worth. So when someone told me, my parents of that I looked up to, and fair enough, I get that game. And I'm not poo-pooing myself. I'm trying to get to the core essence so that I can break it down. I'm not making them look bad. I'm not making myself even feel bad. I just want to get to that core essence, that feeling. So it's up to me to stop this. It's this simple. I will because it's my will. So I'm sitting there going, it's my will, This is a journey of taking all responsibility back, because when you do, you will have the reins to your whole life again. And that's when you can steer it to where you want, because you can't exactly shift it if someone else is holding the reins. And if someone else holding the reins is, oh, that person did that to me. Oh, my parents said that. Our society is this. It's the way the world is. Oh, we just have to put up with it. My dad used to say that all the time. It's just the way the world is. You just have to put up with it. I'm like, can't we shift it if we don't like it? Like, isn't that the whole point? But we have to take full responsibility for ourselves and our thoughts and our actions and everything. Then we have the reins to carving the next path. Otherwise, we will just be having one rein to carving the next path and keep going around in circles, hitting the same block over and over again. Remember, those in charge want you to blame them or someone else outside of you, because you can't change or fix someone else. You can only truly change and heal thyself. You can, however, show others how to accomplish a great life just by living it. So how do we find these core issues? we have to look at what's really missing in our life and break it down till we get to a feeling. That feeling within you is the main director of all your thoughts and your actions. And you can kind of see it by the fact of the things that you're blocking out of your life. If you are blocking something like, if I take somebody that I know that keeps getting angry with life, and then I break them, like I can see it in other people. So it's easy for me to see it in other people, but then I've got to revert that back into my own self-doubts, my own self-loathing thoughts, my own projection of what I think I deserve and what others think I deserve and all that sort of stuff. But if someone's angry, if there's someone that I know is angry, I could break that person. I'm not going to mention their name. I could break that person because I love them too. I could break that person's anger down. And then I could see that they were actually fighting to be loved and accepted. And in the end, you become that you become your own nemesis, because your thoughts become the anger of what you can't ever feel like you could succeed to, but your soul wants you to become that success. You want to feel the love from others, but you can't love yourself, in other words, because so you keep on putting yourself down so that others don't love you, so that you can have the confirmation in your logical brain that you were never loved to begin with. And that is a powerful thing right there. That's why they're saying we have to be super, super honest with ourselves in these next breaking down core levels of ourselves, so that we can really get to opening ourselves up to just loving life and loving who we are and loving that we are actually here in this beautiful world, in this body, and we can breathe and we can have an adventure. We actually have a chance to do something good with our life, without the fear-based scenario that's really been pulled over us to keep us into a limited space. The natural urge of a soul and a human body is to experience, is to have an adventure, is to go out in life and love it for what it is. It's not to say that things won't hit you that are a bit because we need resistance to shift us into different things. But it's kind of like it's overtaken us, and we never really got to the core issue of where that started from, because we were constantly trying to find the reason or the cause outside of ourselves. But honestly, everything that you have outside of you is a reflection of who you are, how you feel about yourself. And your soul is a magnificent thing. It is source energy itself. You are a magnificent thing. Therefore, your soul is merged and created this beautiful body so you could have a separated adventure. So everything about you is absolutely magnificent. It's just our thoughts that have been programmed to say that we are less than, that has carved this path into a resistance of that. And then we point blame outside ourselves, which we can never fix. You can fix one person and then move on. And then if you're a people pleaser, you will end up pleasing somebody else, and they will end up doing something else wrong to you. And then you'll go, why does this keep happening to me? Because you never fixed the core issue. It wasn't anything to do with anyone outside of you. It was everything to do with how you feel about you and yourself. And this is us coming closer and closer to the love of self and source energy and God itself. That point where we can go, I now finally accept everything about my life, so now I can change it. Because it's me and my responsibility right from the beginning. There was no one outside of me pulling this over me. I just decided to let go of the power and magnificence of myself, to follow them, to say that they were worthy more than I was to be able to carve this next path into this journey. And everyone started doing it. So it gave power to certain people that were in charge, that were really coming from their own lack in the beginning. This is going to keep on coming up in these readings until we really get to the core issue of it. And we can say that we understand, but to actually do the action, to actually do the inner actions within ourselves and break down those thoughts, break down those feelings, really come into the power of who we are, is a different story. We need to start doing the actions, and grounding that love back into ourselves, grounding the fact that we are this amazing and everything is our reflection. So we can no longer blame others, and we can no longer put anyone else on a pedestal either. Either or is at the wrong end of self-love, and you can only change things from self-love. Holy crap, absolutely huge, right? So at the moment, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take for me to break all this down. This is why this is a vulnerable thing for me to come forward like this, to be able to see the magnificence in myself, to be able to push myself out of this limitation that I've got myself into. And also true, they're telling me that sometimes when we do start breaking down things, we were grasping or trying to get a success that wasn't actually in line with our soul. So sometimes we can, when we get to that point of, oh my God, I've freed myself from all that, I don't need to try to do anything other than just be happy in my life and do what I love doing. All of a sudden it might deter you from the path that you thought you were going towards, and then create a different path. So that can happen as well. So the thing is with the soul, it's an expanded thing. All possibilities are there for you to have. So if you could imagine yourself with all possibilities coming for you, what one would you choose? If everything was there out on a platter, what would you choose? What would your life be like? If you found that you were supported 100% in your life, what choices would you make? And there's the fear. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I make this choice. Oh my God, but that person would think this. Oh my God, I know that means that if I make it, what's my family going to think of me in that, carving something completely different on this planet that no one else has done before, and so forth. You start to then see where those points are that you need to address within yourself, because there is a core. If you do follow your heart, if you do follow your passions, it will only make your life better. But we've been taught that if we follow our passions and desires, that someone will make us feel small. But anyone that made you feel small in the past was coming from their own lack. And they saw you shine your light. And so then when you shine your light, it illuminated theirs that they were lacking in. And so they come at you, no, keep your light small because I can't look at mine. I don't want to look at mine and my issues of why so I'll keep you small so I can stay small. And we'll all stay small in this limited world. So instead, if I still had that option again, I would go, no, I'm going to shine my light because I see the beauty in you and I know you've got this. I know you can do this, and I'm going to keep shining my light. They might pull away for a while, and then they might see in the way over there, that person's really happy now. Because you want to make yourself happy and teach others that you can be happy in this planet. It doesn't matter what you choose to do. It doesn't even matter if you decide, I'm just going to love my life and just do whatever I feel like in the present moment. It's enough. Just to bring in the love is enough. That's a powerful, powerful thing to show others that you are happy. A powerful thing. We've forgotten how much power that has. Because everyone's looking at everyone else's life and seeing even those that have so-called made it successfully. And then we get into the core of their life and we find that they've got this miserable thing happening and that miserable thing happening. They've got this backlash, that backlash. And they're not actually really happy. We think money can make us happy. So everything that we're striving for is trying to make us happy. We want to make ourselves more happier, right? So we strive for all these things. thinking that that would work. But are you really truly following in moment to moment who you are as a soul wanting to go on a journey? Are you really following your heart's desires? Or are you following something? And this is why they said it could break down as you start to clear the path and realize that that wasn't even your soul's mission to begin with. It was still a program pulled over you to take you into a place where you never really felt comfortable with. So you never felt success within your own self. Even if you did end up manifesting $1 million in your bank, that might have not been the thing that your soul really wanted to come here to experience. But you got it because you had no resistance to it, but it wasn't the thing that's going to really make you happy. What might have really made you happy is the fact that with that $1 million that you create a business that helped thousands and thousands of people. That was the core essence of what your soul wanted to do. So just making the money and hoarding it didn't really give you any sort of happiness at all. We really need to come back and be honest with ourselves. It's so vitally important at the moment. And it is still a process. Don't be too hard on ourselves. You know, we stop looking for, just keep coming back to self. Sorry, I'm just seeing where they were trying to take me there and understand. They were saying, stop looking for a reflection. I'm like, why? It's almost like, okay, they're telling me in the end, we won't even need to have the outside signs. The signs can come, absolutely, but you're still looking outside yourself for something that is within. So that's why they said stop looking for the reflections and the signs and all that. Just be. Interesting. So yeah, where they are, they just know themselves so fully, so wholly, holy. And interesting that they say that. So holy with a W, but then holy with an H. Interesting. They know thyself so well that they could even lose themselves for a minute time just to have an experience and then bring themselves back out of that just to have that experience. So they're always fully in control of themselves, where humanity's consciousness has lost themselves in that demise of looking outside themselves only for confirmation that they are worthy. We need to start jumping off the cliff from self-worth, and then we can jump into anything, any possibilities, because we know we're going to be carried. We know that the outside reflection, the universe that we see outside of us will absolutely mirror that. That's why they said at the beginning of this, the more you love yourself, the more you love the universe. I'm going to go back to that channeling right at the beginning when we read that. It's up to you to love the world and know then that the world will love you back. So the world, sorry, I'm just getting some messages. The world is wanting to reflect everything that you feel about yourself. You are always going on I'm confirming myself journey. And when we have issues within ourselves that are less than what we truly are, the universe will just keep confirming that back over and over. So we have to keep coming back to, where's this issue coming from? And be super honest with ourselves. Because the more that we love the world will give it back to us. Confirmation. There's something to do with less resistance. Because through that love of self, there's less resistance. Interesting. Anyways. Yeah, and it's easy for me to channel this information through, and I absolutely know 100% this is the way to go, because I have done it in the past and it has worked. But then I keep falling back. I keep falling back into the old pattern. My logical brain wants to be in charge and tell me my worthlessness, tell me that I'm not good enough, tell me that who would ever want to listen to me? I'm too different for everybody else. What I speak about is too far for everyone else. I keep saying things like that to myself. And it's keeping me small. And that's my bag, right? That's my bag. Because it's a load of crock. But yeah, so I have compassion for everyone out there that is still trying to shift their stories into what they love. But I have shifted certain things, definitely. And it's really interesting too. If I go back, just talking about this, if I go back to when I shifted the whole love game, like I come out of a narcissistic, cheating, lying, beating up, nasty relationship, had nothing, ended up in a flat where I could only just scrape by, had my 2 daughters. And then I started to meet a couple of, not many. First year I didn't meet anyone, and then I started, I think it was like 9 months, then I actually dated the first person, and I ended up getting this resistance of where I was lacking. But instead of blaming them, which I normally did, I turned it around and I said, why did I bring that person, and what's the lesson they're trying to give me? And I did that 3 times. By the 3rd time, when somebody did something pretty nasty to me again, and it really reflected what I came out of in my last relation, in a big relationship, the 3rd person, they did something pretty bad. I didn't react. I didn't have any, I just went, I didn't actually feel, I just went, oh, they showed their true colors. Great, I'm moving on. And I really didn't have much anxiety. I stood up for myself when somebody approached me about it and they said, you. And I stood up and said, no, this is not who I am. I am, I am an honest person and they are lying. And I stood up for myself. Or their perception of the thing wasn't true. Let's put it that way. They weren't lying. Anyway, I don't want to get into the details, but I'm just trying to give you an indication of, it got to a point for me to get success, to find the right person. I needed to have come to a point where I had no resistance anymore, because I knew thyself enough to realize the love within me deserved to have that as an outer reflection as well. So then when somebody did something wrong, I just water off a duck's back. Then you know that you are ready for that true thing to come in, the truth to come in, the true reflection to come in. Yeah. So same with everything in your life. Just keep doing the work. And then if something does come at you, bring it back to self, clear whatever that issue is, and then move forward again and try again. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. Don't get down on yourself. Just say, this is my schooling. This is my lessons. This is my schooling. I'm fine. I'm just learning. I'm learning. And don't be too hard on yourself, and just keep going. And then there will come a time where the same thing will happen and you won't have the same reaction anymore. You'll feel, whoa, that was easier than last time and the time before. And, you'll start to see where you've actually improved, where you've cleared what you needed to clear. And then you are really ready because then you take bigger leaps of faith. And I did. I took a bigger leap of faith because I had been single before that other relationship. I'd been single for 9 years. So I was going on one of the dating sites, and it was one dating site. I just stayed on one, and I just kept dating on that one site. And I swore to myself I'd never go back onto that dating site because it just seemed to keep me in this loop, self-perpetuating loop of never really being with anybody properly. So I swore I'd never go on that dating site. But when I cleared myself, I got a message to go on back on that dating site. And because I had no fear anymore, but the fear had subsided, not completely, but it nearly had, like pretty good. The fear had pretty well subsided, because I knew my own self-worth. I went, okay, I'll go on it. And the first person that I met was the person that I ended up being with. So totally different. See what I mean? How if we do the work, so we have to find the core reason why we got ourselves caught in the first place of keeping ourselves in a limited state of awareness, or limited consciousness, limited story, so that we don't move forward, because there's always a fear of the light that we're going to become, the best version of ourselves, and how that fits into this world, especially if you are really different, or if you feel you are really different. And everyone does feel different in some way or another, because we're all unique and we're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be the same puzzle piece. That'd be boring and useless anyway, because we wouldn't learn off each other. We would be robots, That's all that a robot can really do. That's why you can tell an AI picture from anything else, because it's just too perfect, right? Okay. See what else comes through. Hey, Jessa. Hey, David. Hey, Sheila. Sorry, Linda. I'm trying to find a different name. Sky. True School. Good to see you guys here. If anyone has a question too, I don't mind answering a question. Let's see if anything else comes through. So we're all dealing with different things here. Some of us are dealing with trying to contain our anger. Some of us, our self-loathing, our self-doubts. Victimization is a big thing in humanity's consciousness. It's kind of like one of the core things that we need to stop doing to ourselves. That whole consciousness, when you get to the core level of that, that's how this split happened, and how we ended up losing ourselves to begin with. Everything is a mere reflection, even the bigger picture of humanity's consciousness is a mere reflection of our own journey and what we're going through. Can you imagine humanity's consciousness being a beautiful, growing really fast and becoming such a beautiful light, magnificent light, just so beautiful. And then the power of that and where that could go, there was a fear that came over humanity's consciousness, and it kind of imploded in on itself. There's a story that I know that goes with that way back in the Babylon era, just past Atlantis, Lemuria, where there was meddling, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to ground more and all this sort of stuff. And it does depend on what perspective you're looking at it at. They're telling me. But it is a mirror reflection of what we're actually going through here now. And for humanity to realize they are amazing, they are magnificent, they have so much more power, that it took a huge amount of other power to dim our light. This power had to be huge to dim our light. So as big as we see that power is how powerful we are. Because you cannot have a reflection of what you are unless you are lacking it. And if you are lacking it, it already is present within you. So whatever power is overshadowing humanity's consciousness, it's how powerful we are. That's a really good one as well. Hey, Mona. Sky, do you know what happened to the dinosaurs, or if there is a different story than what we've been told? That's all right. That's all right. It's not. It's okay. I said any question. The dinosaurs, if I go into their story, they actually, I do feel like they actually evolved into, there was DNA manipulation with a lot on this planet as well. And the dinosaurs did end up becoming humanoid as well. There was humanoid. It's interesting what they're showing me. They could actually be residing still within the earth, in an inner earth. There are caverns that are going to be found, and we're going to end up finding these tunnels that go down, and there's worlds within this world, and their climate needed something more warmer or something. So I don't know much about the biology of, I'm just telling you what I'm getting. So they did actually, and there's actually humanoid as in the arm, 2 legs, and they actually did evolve, but they live. I keep going to say, is it out in another planet, or did they go somewhere else or something? And they keep showing me in. So I'm just going to go with that story at the moment. Yeah. So there is more to that story, and the evolution of humanity too. There's a lot more manipulation going on this planet when it comes to DNA and evolving, and it was all meant to happen, because nothing happens unless it was meant to happen. So you can't come down on somebody who did that sort of thing, because it wouldn't have happened in the first place. Land of Agatha, still inside the earth, David. Honestly, I've never heard of Agatha. I just know that there's definitely pockets, and it's not just one pocket. They're showing me caverns, and that open up into valleys that have found their own light source and all sorts. There's a lot more interdimensional spaces. Also, humanity, that's why there's so much more expansiveness that humanity can branch into once we find balance within ourselves again, because we won't miss the opportunity of the doorway or the portal. We won't miss it because we'll see it, because we are then in line with their frequency again. And there's so much more to be in line with. And that's why we should never fear where we are going when it comes to nature, because nature holds so many beautiful keys and beautiful things beyond what the logical mind could actually perceive. And so we will thrive. We can thrive because we can then, when we are raising our vibration to loving everything, we can then we can move into different dimensional spaces, and find these doorways. And they're going to be found anyway, because some people from those places have been born into humanity's consciousness to help awaken. So they are already encoded with the doorways or the portals. And they will be the guides to lead others through into those places. But there has to be energetic collaboration or meet for that to be able to be explored. And that cannot happen. It will not happen when we come from a warring mind, and when we don't trust our intuition. We need to be able to trust our intuition just as much as our logic. Our logic grounds this reality. Our intuition brings us in. It brings us into even more of what the logic can then ground into. So, yeah. So there has to be equal. Sometimes logic needs to be played out. Sometimes intuition needs to be played out. Both have responsibility. They're showing me the yin yang to be able to cut or create the story, and it will expand humanity's consciousness greatly, where we're not even seen by those that are in the limited world anymore, because we can raise our vibration outside of that consciousness. They're bringing me to a book. I can see the book. It's a blue book, and it has insight written on it. I can't see the title. If they can give me the title. 12 insights or something. Yeah, anyways, maybe you guys can pick that one up. I just see what time it is too, because I have to watch my time. Sorry, guys. Did people really live in the 700 or 900 years age back in time? Are you talking about after BC, AC? People lived right through. People lived there. We actually go back further than what the limited story tells us. The limited story was pulled over our reality so that we didn't when we did find artifacts, we wouldn't go into the fact that we're civilizations that have risen and fallen and risen and fallen, even well before Rome, right? Well before it rose and fell and rose and fell and rose and fell all the time. It's a journey that source energy has gone through with Earth. So many things in different countries, sometimes like they really had to cut out certain stories because they wanted us to stay small. And it's really interesting they're bringing me to it only takes two or three cycles of someone being born, and then their grandmother, and then their great-grandmother. And by the time you get to the great-grandmother, they can't talk to the great-great-grandchild. And so it only takes like 100 years for them to shift the story into something that's really warped and wrong, because we get taught, and then those people die, and the great-great-grandparents die, and so then they can keep that story rolling, or that program rolling, and then it becomes our reality. So they're trying to, at the moment, shift our story right here, right now, from even when I was young till now. When I was young, there was no chemtrails, nothing. There was a whole different sort of a feeling about this planet and humanity's consciousness. And now they're trying to drive us into a certain story. So that's why they want us to break free of that story, find our magnificence, and we can choose what path we want to go on. We don't have to follow anyone anymore. So, yeah, there was many stories that were hidden to keep us small and keep us in line with what they wanted. And that's why they went around the world trying to seek out all of the natives to try to convert them into their story. But they can't get everything. So there are pockets of humans even now residing on Earth that know the whole story. We just have to open ourselves up to listening to that story. And we can tap into the Akashic records and get that story back again as well. It depends on what focus you have as well. So my focus is generally on helping humanity ascend into these higher frequencies, because they've shown me, they've taken me there, and they know what they're like. And I know that's my guide, that's my compass, that's my home. And it's all from within. It's how I feel about me in my world. And so I guide people that way. But there are others that will be able to guide other people into the true history as well. I have been given some of the true history through this journey. I was, contacted by 4 different species: the Lyrians, the reptilians, who showed me my own power, my own worth in the end, because I had to find my own power to be able to handle that energy. The Pleiadians, the Lyrians, and the Anunnaki. Those 4 visited me over the span of 10 years. I searching for some of the history. I don't know it all. Like, there's some people out there that have this passion and desire to really fixate on certain parts of the history, and they are going to come forth as well. So there's going to be a lot of us that are going to come forth to help. It's just a matter of tripping up over them. Anyway, 12, Insight by James Redford. Yes, thank you. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, they're bringing me to that where you can shift your frequency out of. And the reason why that happens is because they're looking for someone in fear, and you're no longer in the fear-based program. So they literally don't see you anymore. And you are the observer of their reality because you're not attached to it anymore. So that's how that works. That's how they're telling me that works. Okay, I'll leave it here, guys. So, yeah, I will do Fun with Tarot on Tuesday because I love working with tarot sometimes, and do some more messages coming up. There's a really big, powerful message of awakening those that are holding the codes at the moment. So I'm probably going to do a video on that, and we'll see what comes up next. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being part of my journey, and thank you for not coming down on me for being vulnerable, because it is hard to be vulnerable like that and share the truth of who we are. But if I don't do it, how the heck am I going to be able to teach you guys? I want to be someone who, to be a guide, I have to be that. I have to go teach you as I go through it as well. And I think that's something that needs to be done. Well, they keep on telling me to anyway. So bye.